Welcome to the I Stand Correct podcast. I'm your host, John. Today we are going to talk about the scourge of elderly hockey. Why does it happen? It's so hard to know, and yet every single day in this country, hundreds, thousands, perhaps millions of antiquarian Americans are beset upon the ice, upon each other, and upon the puck. What are they after? Points, glory, or simply a weird way to die earlier than what God intended? I don't know. We have got to stop elderly hockey. I tried. I tried to make it about something. Good morning to Chase, who is here. Christy, who is on the other side of the world, probably not awake yet. I always say the best week of every football season is divisional round. It's just when you manage to have all the best teams kind of come together, and you never know what you're gonna get in the championship round. I've always said that. And case in point, in the championship round, we had like this weird snowy game, that was fun to watch, like if it was a regular game, but terrible to watch if it's a championship game. And then, you had Seahawks beating just the hell out of the Rams. And it's been a great season. And then you get to this week and it's just nothingness. It feels like a breakup, it's like, because you're so used to having this thing in your life and all of a sudden it's not there anymore. And you're just going through it. And then you think to yourself, man, I wish they still played the Pro Bowl. I would watch the Pro Bowl today. I would be happy to watch. I would be happy to watch Jordan Love throw a pass to AJ Brown or whatever, whoever your guys are. I assume the Pro Bowl actually would be full of Dallas Cowboys because the Pro Bowl is the best that they can do. What say Drew is here? The hockey show that he wanted me to talk about hockey was his idea, so I'm paying homage to Drew and elderly hockey. Anyway, we'll just go ahead and get into the memes. Something that you'll probably notice about this episode is that I haven't been paying attention to the world. For your bookmark purposes, I was here for the Renee Good thing, and then a few days after that, and then I left the world behind. So I haven't been paying attention, but I have a few memes here that we'll get through, and hopefully they'll make your day a little bit better. And in no particular order as well. The road trip nobody asked for. I don't know if you follow Terrible Maps, but it's a pretty good one. But here you're going to start in PB Island, and eventually you ride up at Poo Poo Point. The road trip nobody asked for. It's at least an international one. I would love to go to Nova Scotia and then ending up on the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest. It's probably, aside from when you wind up at PP Creek in the Rust Belt, it's probably one of the most beautiful rides you could possibly take. So maybe it's the road trip that nobody asks for, and it's the road trip that nobody wants, but it's the road trip that some people deserve. I don't know. Gonna prank Dad when he gets home. Gonna hit him in the face with shaving cream. All dads love this. Day 1, day 2, day 817. Still waiting for Dad to come home. Maybe he came in through the back door. I think that's what this meme is about. Comfort doesn't die. It merely reinvents itself. Can I be honest? I don't know what number 4 is. Is that drugs? I was told, I was in the DARE program. They told me not to do drugs. I think number 4 is drugs because I recognize the pacifier. And then I recognize the indelible lolly. And of course, my favorite, the cigarette. But there's a part between cigarette and shotgun. Is that a shotgun or a rifle? I'm not sure. But there's I think number 4 is drugs. And my takeaway from drugs is that you've got it looks like an unfiltered cigarette, which tracks, and then what I could only describe as, I don't know, asbestos fibers. And then if I'm looking closely, guys, my computer's very far away. That's why I don't even get my own meme. But there's a razor blade at the end. That's what I think drugs is. It's just all the worst things combined. Anyway, all good things for your mouth. Farmers are a necessary relic of the dying far-right movement. Yes, the dying far-right movement. Uber Eats will replace farming within 3 years. You could bank on this. You know why this meme makes me mad? Because this is a joke I was saying probably before memes really existed. Back when GIFs really had just taken over the internet, I used to say, like, I don't shop from the grocery store, or I don't go hunting or whatever. No, it was about farms. It literally was about farms because I live in a big farming community, and I said, we don't need farmers because I can go to the grocery store to get my food. So it was literally about that. But the climate here with a blue check mark, he will receive for his many views for him saying almost the exact same thing as me. He will receive millions of dollars. So I'm a man, born slightly too late to do anything. You ever had a cereal bar? Yes, when I was 12. How the fuck do they work? It was a bath bomb. He thought like you would take this out of like this like convenient travel storage, and throw it in the milk, and it would all separate and possibly foam up into a delicious cereal. Can you explain this gap in your resume? Well, first of all, my heart was ripped out of my chest. So explaining a gap on your resume. Is the real test that you're supposed to explain that? I was fired and I had trouble finding a job in my area, or I have money and I don't have to be constantly subsistent to a paycheck to survive. Like, what if you just said that? You're like, well, I'm financially independent, so I'm not. If you tell them that, that's bad because they need you to be subservient to them. They need you to live paycheck to paycheck and to put up with anything in order to survive. So you can't say, well, I inherited a big trust and I invest well, and so a job is really more of a pastime for me. They don't want to hear that. What's the correct answer? I wonder what it is. Drew's here. Drew has hired people before. I don't know if he's still here or not, but what's the reason why you would ask this, and what's the best answer? And what's the, would you accept someone had their heart ripped out of their chest and they went through a bit of a thing there? Or, they just, didn't really want to work or do anything. What if you're like in a just real specific field and like you leave a job, or your job ends or changes, or the salary is not what you want it to be, and you decide you're just going to compete as a free agent. You just leave. What's the answer? Booking flights on a phone is crazy. That is laptop activity. It's the most millennial trait. Is big purchases must happen on a big laptop screen. I am the exact same way. I will look, if I'm booking a flight, I will look on a phone to see what it is, but I'm not going to purchase on a phone. It seems like anything that you would do on a phone is a mistake. I'm the same way, even with Amazon. I don't purchase things on Amazon on my phone, which is ridiculous because it's like, it's right there. I'm going to tell you an example of why you shouldn't do that, because this is an exception of a time when I did do that. I was under pressure. Okay. It was Christmas time. I was in the company of many. I think I was playing a game. And because I'm retired from all the games that I'm good at for want of any reasonable, anyone that would stand a chance to defeat me and make the game interesting. A book came up that I had read called Imminent by Luis Arredondo. I'm not sure the last name on that, but it's by a guy that used to work for the Department of Defense, and he essentially investigated reports of paranormal phenomenon, unidentified aerial phenomenon, UFOs, in other words, is the modern parlance. And so the book's called Imminent, and The book really does make a good case that something's going on in the government. Anyway, I'm talking with someone who is talking to me about whether or not I believe in identified aerial phenomenon. I recommend this book, and I say, you know what, to hell with it, I'll get you the book. So I jump on Amazon on my phone, like I shouldn't be doing, and I find the book on Amazon, and I hit buy now, and I done. Well, for some reason, it says the book's going to take like 4 weeks to arrive. This should have like been a clear sign for me, but I'm an idiot, guys. I'm not that smart. So he finally texts me like last week. He gets the book and he goes, I've got the book. And I'm like, that's great. I think you're really going to enjoy it. You'll be surprised. And he goes, it is in German. Well, that's why it took 4 weeks to get there. They literally pulled it off of a shelf in Deutschland and sent it internationally. I'm so glad I'm not concerned with like the carbon emission footprint of the earth because I misclicked on a book apparently got sent across the Atlantic Ocean because I clicked the wrong button. But this is why you should be on a full-size laptop. So you could take in the scope of everything. You could scroll up and down. You can kind of muse and think about it. You're not getting distracted by the other things going on. I wonder if anyone else here has had a similar experience or if it was just me. I bring a sort of Lee Harvey Oswald energy to the party that hoes do not like. Yeah, I'm just up in the Texas Book Depository looking down, aspiring to be a patsy. As you all know, I aspire to patsyhood. I see this guy with visible spaghetti vomit on his sweater. Wow, on the surface, he looks so calm and ready. Somehow that Eminem song is like one of his best songs, but it's also like a weird joke. They should invent a stay signed in checkbox that isn't absolutely meaningless. Man, you aren't kidding. Let's go to some of the chats. Drew is here. I guess he says that that's an acceptable answer to say that my heart was ripped out of my chest. Drew, would you hire a dispatcher that said I had a big gap in my resume because my heart was ripped out of my chest? I mean, kind of suggests maybe they don't have great coping skills. Lauren's here. Tyler's here. Lauren says, at first glance, I thought that was a log in the toilet. Oh, I don't even know what you mean. Jenny says, I have never been asked about a gap in my resume. Been asked why I was fired, and then the hiring person said, oh, I totally understand that. And hates bosses like that. I think you're lucky to have someone who understands firings. I've been fired before, I guess, and for me, I always just viewed it as like, you don't come back from this. You're trash, like you're excommunicated from the employment community. You know what I mean? I guess I took it a little bit too hard, but I just felt like if you go to anyone else and tell them you've been fired, it's like you're done for, So, I think there's a difference between me and Jenny, though. Does anyone want to guess what that would be? Without getting too into it, I think there's probably a tacit desire to have Jenny as being part of your staff, whereas for me, it's maybe the benefits are not so clear. We'll just leave it as vague as that. The answer is I decided to try the sovereign citizen thing. I was told my social was like a bank card or something, so no needed to work. Still working on that sovereign police officer thing. What's holding me back? Really nothing. I don't need an office. I have a vehicle. I could probably order some decals online accidentally from German and have them come back auf Deutsch. And it says sovereign police on it. And you guys, some of you may remember that I don't really want to enforce the law, but for no money, I will enforce my own moral code upon the community. Then I did realize that didn't work, and the IRS is after me. Well, the IRS is really just another form of police, so I'm sure they would respect my authority. I was in prison for doing something bad to my last hiring manager. One of my favorite scenes in Fight Club is when the boss finds the rules to Fight Club on the copy machine and he brings it to Edward Norton. And he goes, well, wow, this is a really demented person. And he's probably a lot closer to you than you think. And you got to be really careful about approaching about this because he probably dreams all day long about picking up an Armalite 15 rifle and walking around this office and putting round after round after round into all his miserable coworkers. And his boss just looks at him and starts to sweat. He goes like, maybe you shouldn't bring me every piece of trash that you find. It's like such a good moment. Watch that movie if you haven't, and read the book if you haven't watched the movie. I forgot to add John to the beginning of my messages. Oh yes, last week and most weeks there's confusion over which ones are for me. But if you want to, just put John in real big letters at the beginning. That way I know it's for me. Why do I do this show first thing in the morning? I feel like I should schedule a pre-task or something. They pulled off a shelf in Illinois, sent it to Germany, had it translated, and then shipped it. So it's funny you say that, Drew, because he gets the book in German, and I say, don't worry, I'll get you a translation book, a dictionary. And I said, I'll get you a German to English book. And then I said, oh my gosh, I just misclicked. I've got German to Russian. So I'm going to get you German to Russian. Then I'm going to go ahead and send you Russian to English, and you should be good. So we'll translate the book into Russian and then into English from there. And it all is worthwhile. Jonathan, I got fired because I worked at one hospital and they built a brand new one. And I was told I was the new one. And the new boss didn't like me since she didn't hire me. And I was just given the heave-ho, I assume is what you're getting at. What a bunch of shit. I mean, that's not firing for cause, right? I mean, so you could just get unemployment at that point. Not that I'm so big on entitlements. John, you are Batman. I'm like a lazy Batman, If being Batman was an option for me, I would probably do it at most once or twice a week. Because you got to remember that being Batman, the other thing that goes with that is being a billionaire. And I admit it, I am going to immediately, like the Elmo meme where he just goes into the coke. I'm going to go straight into the avarice of it all and the hedonism and, change my personality, forget the people who care about me, and just immediately start living a life of just totally unhinged indulgence. And it won't be for long. I will literally be like Chris Farley. You ever wonder why a guy like Chris Farley didn't live to be very old? It's because the unhinged indulgence, that'll be me. I'm exactly the same way. Jonathan, I was also 18 at the time, so having a job wasn't that big of a deal. Okay. Jonathan Bates is average Batman. I actually I didn't draw anything. I mean, it never became anything, but for a while, there was maybe 3 summers ago, I was drawing pictures of myself as becoming a real crappy Spider-Man that I'm afraid of heights and I'm not good at the webs. So I just carry a gun, what would it be if I was for some reason Batman and I've got the sleeves rolled up and I'm constantly smoking, which is how I am in all my fantasies. Salamander says, here everything is at will. So answer is if you find out, kindly let me know. Employment status. I think it's probably best that it's that way though. So this may be a meme that I played a couple weeks ago, and I wonder if that's the case. They all might have gotten mixed together, but a spoon's only objective in life is to go upwards. It's to make soup go upwards, and it knows this. And that's why when you put it under a running tap, it blasts the water way high. The soup thinks there's suddenly tons of soup to deal with, and it freaks out. Actually, I think the meme that I ran last week was why I hate soup, and it's because soup is conveyed in a series of ever changing bowls, that it's cooked in a large bowl and served in a smaller bowl. and the spoon is a as yet smaller bowl, and it goes into your mouth, which is a bowl, and then into your stomach, which is just a bowl, and then onto the turlet, which is a bowl. And it's like you just feel like a cog in the machine. Do you even matter compared to the soup? Is the soup even aware of you? But this tracks that the spoon knows its only objective is to make soup go up, make soup go up, and then when you're under the running tap, freaks out. Guys, some advice. This is kind of where I'm trying to go. I think this is just advice to be a stoic, but stop overplaying your role. Deal with people how they deal with you. Barely, hardly, and accordingly. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was, I don't think it was maybe even advice, but I read in a book, was that you shouldn't worry so much about what people think about you because they don't do it that often. You know, you're sort of central to your own existence. You're in your own head, literally, figuratively. But you're just some guy in the room to other people. You come and you go, and you know, you leave. They're not thinking about you. You're not George Costanza, where if you leave behind a recording device, you're going to find out what they say about you after you go. How some of your turn signals look. I think mine probably degraded. I'm not even sure that mine's there. I don't think a spider's made a home of it. I think it just doesn't even exist anymore. I probably, if I'd been smart, knowing me, I probably should have replaced my turn signal with like a cup holder or something, or something that would be more useful. Maddie McMemes, who is, a great source of memes, as you know, he's probably about a third of the show now. He says, I find the memes first. I don't care. Everyone else takes them from me and I find them first. I'm the fastest and I'm the smartest. So I'm just really paying dues to Maddie McMemes this week. He sounds like me, and so that's why I respect him. When someone asks you how you feel about the government, a great deal of my thoughts are basically unshareable with anyone. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she made mention of like a beverage, I think a ginger ale that was really popular in her area, but like it's not real big here. So she's telling me about it, and it started with V. It's Werner's ginger ale. I'm hesitant to bring it up because I don't know what I'm doing to my algorithm right now, but she and I were just basically discussing it. And my phone's there. And sure enough, I've never even heard of this ginger ale. I don't think it's available in my market. But like 2 days later, I'm scrolling Instagram looking for memes desperately for the show. And I come across an ad for Werner's ginger ale. It's always listening all the time. And so that's why a great deal of my views about the government, not only are they basically unshareable with anyone, I can't sit in a room with a piece of technology and say these things out loud. It is going into my file. So we know the NSA does listen to us. We know that. We know the NSA is listening to Americans. And they're telling Werner's ginger ale about it, I guess. What do you say? No future. It's one of my favorite memes. What do you do when you have a replica of the DeLorean from Back to the Future and it's either vandalized or whatever? This one's a very old meme. I've had this one probably 10 years just because it kind of speaks to me. It's kind of like very depressing, somewhat nihilistic. I've held on to it for a long time. So this isn't AI. This is a picture of some kind. And now I'm more curious about it than ever. Me driving. Oops, that was illegal, but it's fine. Yeah, I left behind city driving 3 years ago, just shortly after the start of all this podcasting malarkey. And I think I've forgotten how to drive after 3 years. I remember my dad used to go on deployments in the Navy, and they used to warn him, hey, if you're gone for 6 months, have somebody pick you up because you don't know how to drive. So we would have to go and pick him up and drive him back home because like he's been on a ship this whole time. He doesn't know how to drive. I may have been deployed the last 3 years to the Netherlands of not driving in any kind of reasonable way. Like I turn on the truck and I drive straight down the road, and I'm just the driving mostly does itself. People who know me know I am texting and driving. I am asleep. Sometimes I just crawl in the back. We know with the cruise on, I'll take a little nappy nap. Very disengaged from the driving process. It's one that's boring, especially at nighttime, which is a lot of the time when I'm driving. So I'm not a good driver. We've established that on the show as well, that I'm in the lower half of drivers. There's so many people who think that they're above average and they're below. I recall recently I was driving and I needed to do a U-turn, and I'm at a red left turn arrow and I just went for it. I'm like, oh wait, there's no turning left on red. You don't do that. And I'm like, there's this other car that's like turning right, and we're like, we're like driving right beside each other. What the hell did he think of me? I mean, the driving where I live is so terrible anyway. Maybe he didn't notice, but yeah, I have no idea how to drive anymore. So it's just I'll do something and it's like, whoops, that was wrong. But that's okay. That was illegal, but it's fine. No cops saw me, right? I'm like, of course, to be honest, also in this town, once I drove past a police officer with no headlights on and they didn't do anything about it. So let's create a fun and exciting cereal. Executive. Oh, okay, go on. It'll have cool colors and fruity flavors. Oh my God, yes. And rabbits could fuck right off if they think they can have some. Perfect. We have created tricks. This is a meme I was thinking about using in an upcoming video, but this might be a little bit too pretentious, right? My life got better when I realized it didn't have to be nice. Nice got me ran over, stressed out, and disrespected. I'm not nice. I'm a good person. There's a difference. Now thinking I probably won't use this in a video about why 911 dispatchers seem mean. Maybe I will. But I mean, this is definitely our mindset about being nice on the phone, that you can get run over in a conversation, you can get stressed out, and you can get disrespected. People always will mistake kindness for weakness. And even though you're on the phone, sometimes you're very often in a power struggle. I remember taking a call just last night in which I was rather direct with Shirley. She wanted to tell me some story about how Henry's been sick lately, but that doesn't matter if he has fallen in the bathtub tonight. Did he lose consciousness? No. Okay. Well, we'll deal with the rest later. But it wasn't very nice. But I gave her what she needed instead of what she wanted. And a casual person might think that I was rather callous to her. I don't know. Who's Africa going for in the Super Bowl? Yeah, it's been a while. It's been 10 years since the Broncos have been there, so I can see that the Broncos fans maybe definitely want it more. Of course, over in Somalia, the Horn of Africa, they're just going to root for the hometown team. Somebody needs to tell them that the Vikings never go to the Super Bowl. Finally, guys, you can buy at Costco your industrial jug of whiskey. Is this for your car? I feel like this is like you would put this in your car as like emergency escape fuel, or I don't know, if you just need to go on a bender, I guess. I don't know. Like, who needs to buy this much whiskey? Not saying no though. If the price was right on it, yeah, I'll buy a big jug of whiskey. I wish it was more generic, just like general whiskey, just like generic whiskey, brandless whiskey. This one's from me, guys. That's why you don't see an attribution here, but it's from February of 2019. It's from me. Nothing quite like sleeping in on your day off, when the house is cool and dark and you're under a heavy blanket and the dog jumps in bed and settles in close beside you. And when you wake, finally, hours later, on your own time, to realize the dog's butt has been right next to your face all those hours. It literally happened with me and my dog Walt back in 2019. So many years ago. The dog just jumped up in my bed and I didn't care. I'm like, this is fine. He didn't normally sleep in bed with me. So when he jumped up, like, I'm just like, we're going to have a genuine man and dog moment, like what you see in the movies. But then I woke up and it's the dog's butt. Thank you, Walt. I'm sure I have pink eye now. Thank you. The next one won't even play. There we go. 3 years ago today, which this meme also was kind of taken off of my memories. I think it would also be 7 years ago. 7 years ago, Taco Bell created the naked chicken chalupa, which was a taco which had chicken as its shell. Today, it has vanished from the earth because we are all very bad people. This is typical far-right moral grandstanding. The reason why we no longer have the naked chicken chalupa, I'm sure, is the government. I'm sure the government took it away from us, just like they take eggnog away from us. In 1986, I can't wait to see what the future looks like. God, take me back to 1996. Even this picture, very nostalgic, with the sodium lamps. Remember when all the lights were orange at night? Oddly calming. I remember when they started rolling out the LED lights, and they were really bright, I guess, and they caused more light pollution, I thought. But bring me back orange lights. Anyone else feel the same way? Am I the only one that feels this way? Is this stupid? Probably is. Lauren says, the mag keeps getting stuck to your hands. You can't reload. The bowl in the machine. John, soup is controlled by Big Bowl. Big Bowl controls soup. John, you could be Bowlman with the power of soup and spoon. I don't even like soup, though. Not a soup guy. Big surprise. Verner's is the only way. You're from Michigan, I think. I'll be listening, but attempt to keep the phone dry. I don't even want to know what the hell he's doing. We're almost near the end of the memes. It's going to be a record short show because nobody's here. I think I normally lock people in with the politics, and now they're not here. Final episode, guys. Last episode of this show. Never use turn signals. It's nobody's business where you are going. You know that is how I feel about it. This is no kind of weather to be out there hot dogging. Those of you who know me best know that it is my ideal crime to steal the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile because as a student of the craft, as someone who enters vehicles as stolen all the time, how do you enter a giant wiener as missing? I just want to know. And then I want to watch the footage of me like in a high-speed pursuit. This thing's got to be topped out at what, 60? It can't go that fast. But like, I know that Drew will tell you in real life they don't do this, but they're going to open fire on me, right? Or for whatever reason. Like this is like it would, all the rounds would be deflected, and like I feel like this would be, not to be gross, but I feel like I could ram through a lot of things inside a giant wiener. I just feel like it's the perfect stealable vehicle. And the security on it can't be that high, right? I mean, you wouldn't imagine. But seriously, when you enter it as a stolen vehicle, what type of vehicle is this? Is this a truck? I don't know. This whole no smoking with kids in the vehicle, it's ridiculous. Look at that little kid. He's so cold out there. You can see his breath. He's pretending to smoke. He wants to smoke. The children yearn for the cigarettes. He actually looks wrapped up pretty well. You know what's funny about my life? I never had winter clothes as a kid. Shouldn't I have, Mom? I never had gloves or a hat. What's that about? Mom, I found your old Barbie doll. Can I keep it? Oh, sure, sweetie. It's all yours. Dad, I found this in your room. It's a car battery. Throw it in the ocean. Fulfill that battery's destiny. Back from whence you came. Nothing more satisfying than that. If you don't live near the ocean, you can throw a battery into a creek. It's just as satisfying. Even a lake, where there's really no promise of ever being relieved of the presence of those chemicals ever. Just go ahead. It doesn't matter. Sometimes you think a man is gay, but it turns out he's just nice. And sometimes you think a man is nice, but he's just wearing glasses. It's complicated. This kind of suggests that you shouldn't be judging a man by the way that he looks, but I stand by that. Sorry, 99% accuracy. You can tell what's going on with the dude from pretty far away. You buy bits and bites. Is that what that's called? Butts and bits. You can get the leftover cigarettes. They just repackage them. I know what you're thinking. Gross. Hey, I slap. No. At Target, one of my very biggest cases, you know how Drew had big cases like, you know, drug kingpin down there in South Florida, Mendoza. He jumps on the speedboat with the cocaine, with the diamonds, with a girl, and he speeds off from the dock. But he untied the rope from the pier, but it's still attached to the cleat of the boat. So Detective Drew Breezy is there, and he knows that all he has to do, right, is grab onto the rope, and he's going to water ski behind Mendoza. And he's pulling himself up, and he's getting closer to the boat. He's got his gun, in his teeth. It's going to be a great time. That's a typical big case for Drew, right? He did that, Thursday, 8/7 Central. That's Drew Breezy's experience. My experience, I was the Target security guard. So, yes, did I have a gun in my teeth a lot of the time? Obviously, they did not give me a holster. So, but we used to have this transient guy who would come up from down the street, and he would come and pick through the cigarette butts. And get this, guys. First of all, we had trash cans outside, but the trash cans had a big ashtray on them. I just realized how weird the story is, because you would not go to Target now and find a big ashtray outside, would you? I assume you would not. On top of the trash can is a big fucking ashtray. It's like there's the can, and then above that is like it's a little thing that's full of, little cigarette putter out or powder or whatever. He would come through and pick through this, and I would watch him on camera because he's like this, dirty looking dude. He's not on Target brand. He's gross. And he would pick up the cigarette butts and he would eat them. They were his sole source of nutrients. He was so deficient in vitamins that he resorted to eating cigarette butts. So that guy would look at this and say, that's fresh. That's been hygienically prepared for my benefit. And, that's a price I can afford. I think we've seen it before. Similar things made into soup, cigarette butt soup. Is that bothersome to anyone? Abby's not here. I think I got this one just for Abby, but John Lennon takes a lot of hate, but I still don't think he takes enough. This completely over-celebrated, vapid, evil in that he was stupid, chump, totally got shot or whatever. Loser. Really, Paul was the genius behind the Beatles, and for some reason, John took so much credit. I don't know why. He gets a lot of hate, but whatever it is not enough. Fucking commie douchebag. All right. Me creating my email address at age 10 and not realizing I will be using this into adulthood. I have some very stupid email addresses that I still have access to. Very dumb. And now that I'm older and I want a more reasonable email address, it's not possible. Particularly because I share my name with several very prominent people, if you can believe that or not. I mean, just Google it. But there's a lead singer of a band, Mellowdrone, and I think there's even a Family Annihilator who shares his name with me. I should do that on a true crime episode at some point. Tell the story of Jonathan, who took out his wife and daughter, and now he's serving life in prison. So my point is that the lead singers of bands and the spree killers have all the best email addresses now, versions of my name, and I don't have access to those. So like, and I can't even like be cool, you know. I can't be like Jonathan Bates 69, you know. That one's taken. So you know, what am I going to be? Jonathan Bates 67 now? I think I did the joke wrong. 67? Is that a thing? I've literally never heard anyone say that to me before, so I don't know if I did it right or wrong. But there's no good email addresses left. In fact, I even like because like I'm now signing in on devices on my TV to sign into Hulu or Netflix or whatever. I'm having to go through this long ass email address because my first name is so long with its 8 letters. I'm like, I've got to workshop a shorter email address. So can I like be like, can I just be like, you know, A727 at gmail.com? No, it's too short. No, this makes you look like a pirate. No, you can't have this. No, you can't have that. So you're stuck with your stupid childhood email address. Like, I didn't know it was going to be like a social security number for my communicating future. So dumb. Still stuck with it. What do? You know? Thank you for putting this in terms I can understand. Freezing rain. You get a glaze of ice. One time, I came out to my car and it was covered in multiple layers of ice. It looked like fucking Iceman had attacked it from your X-Men films, or I think it's Elsa from the Frost movie. Let It Go. Do you know what I'm talking about? What's that movie? Frost? Ice? What's the name of that movie? Frost? I think it's Frost. Snow? Anyway, it's about this princess who like she needs to meet her true love in order to survive or something. And it turns out her true love's her family and not this like prince. I didn't get it at all. Anyway, she sings about letting things go. And Frost. Anyway, she had attacked my car. Or Iceman had. One of the X-Men is something I can understand. It was covered in multiple sheets. It had to have been just freezing rain all night because it was completely like Mr. Freeze had done this thing in, and I couldn't even get it. I was like chipping at ice to like dig down to the level of my car. It's horrible. And then there's sleet, which is like sprinkles of ice. Obviously I prefer sleet just because I don't want to have to like use my own superpowers to undo the ice. Verner's is the way. Calm lights were nice. Chase is still here. Where the hell's Felony Melanie? Like, she's required by law to be here, and yet she shows up less than 50% of the time anymore. And also, I'm never happy unless Butter Queen's here. I know that she's at work right now inspecting butter for the United States, but I guess I'd prefer that she just, you know, not do her job and pay attention to me. The Wienermobile is built on a full-size truck chassis. Don't say chassis to me. You're ruining the magic by saying that. What chassis, though, by the way? Like what, an F-250? Like what is it built on? The Wienermobile would be the perfect getaway car if you're going to steal the bean from the park in Chicago. Drew always he has to take it too far. I could just there's a in New Mexico there's a monument of a giant roll of toilet paper. I don't know why. I once saw New Mexico by train and I could see it from the train. I don't know why, but I think that would be that one. I think is probably much harder to move than the bean. Probably. We did more drug deals at the abandoned warehouse than at the wharf. Well, okay. All right. I figured like if you were opening the cop season that maybe you would have a bigger budget for your crimes. Mendoza. My mom ran our local cigarette butts kitchen. Yeah. There's a commercial with the cigarettes in her neck and the voice. Oh, I love that one where she's smoking out of the stoma. That's so cool. where she's like, don't ever do what I did. You know, and it's just like, why not? You're still doing it. You know what I mean? Stoma to stomach was her original idea. If you're going to have a hole just for smoking, you know what else doesn't make sense? The stoma. If she can talk, you're going to tell me she can't pass any air from here to there? What's the stoma for? She can't open her mouth and breathe? She can't breathe through her nose? I mean, is this all like packed? Does it get packed with something and that's why she has to breathe through this? I could look into the stoma. I could ask ChatGPT. I could ask Google. Just like I could at how a sewing machine works, but ultimately I don't want to know. I come from an era in which the mystery was better than the reality. And from a time where you would wonder something. How does that work? There's no way to know. Not unless PBS tells us. Not unless I literally get a library card and go down to the library. I'm not going to find out. And then you would eventually come across the fact because someone would know. Somebody like me. Somebody but me, but of the 80s. Someone whose area of expertise is complete world knowledge. And he'll just randomly tell you. And that's how you would find out. So I don't know how a sewing machine works. Clearly some sort of wicked sorcery there. Don't want to know. Don't ruin it for me. I wouldn't even believe a diagram or a video if you sent it. But the stoma is so much more mechanically simple. It's just a hole. What's it there for? What's in the head? They pack it? And if so, with what? Asbestos? One wonders. One doesn't know. But they have the little hole down here. They do the little never-ending little tracheotomy thing. You have to keep that clean. All right. People are probably like really weirded out. John, you're padding out the show because you don't have any memes this week. People could tell. All right. She brought the SS to small town. I'm just here driving. Well, you drive safely, Jenny. Your Drano works on the clogs. Exactly. If there's some kind of clog or something, you know, everybody knows the best way to deal with a stuffy nose is to take one of those really long Q-tips and then just put it all the way down in the bottom of a bottle of Vaseline. And then you swab it up in there. And you could use Vicks if you want. But then you take the used Q-tip and then you set that on fire. And then you get up there. You know, you go back up there. Everyone knows that's the best way to clear out a stuffed up chimney. I don't know, guys. There's no memes this week. My online patterns of endless scrolling have been somewhat minimized. I'm feeling very mentally healthy. Thank you for asking. You didn't even bother to ask. Me having fewer memes means that I'm really taking care of my mental health. I know that you don't care and that you'd rather see memes and you'd rather see an abjectly miserable, completely frazzled, pushed to the brink of my own destruction, John. But, you know, there's always next week for that. Thursday this week, we're still manic depressive. No idea what's going to happen. The last time I looked at the numbers from our Uvalde episode, I'm not sure that pierced the veil of significance. I'm going to check those numbers real quick. Piercing the veil of significance. That's like, is that like a nice way of saying that like nobody cared? Ooh, the numbers on it are not good at all. Oh man, that's really going to set Drew back. Oh, no, the numbers on it are actually pretty good. That was a reel that he put out. It looks like the numbers on it aren't bad. They're a little bit higher than they've been recently, and a lot of comments. So that's nice. But, you know, we're spoiled around here. We're used to getting 18,000 views. Frankly, Sandra Birchmore is probably just the key and the solution. I don't know what's going on with her case, but I feel like a lot of people care about Sandra Birchmore. I don't know where we're at with it. Should probably look into it and get back on that case because that generated a lot of traffic for us. And it would be interesting to kind of go back to true crimey stuff again. Not much moving right now, you know. What do you do? A show like this, you just hope something horrible happens and that there's an interesting 911 call and that you can exploit it. I mean, that's the best you can do, right? So you kind of wait around. We'll have a show probably on Thursday. I could very much see that happening. What will it be? I don't know. Yes, she did. She never gets credit. For what? There are no good memes about football because it's over. I actually almost resorted to that. I like coming by the memes organically, like just a good, nice thumb scroll. But I'm like, I should go search for the football memes. I should go to NFL underscore memes or something. There's got to be an account there that I'm following, but yeah, there's nothing there. And like I said, like with a breakup, suddenly everything that gave your life definition, meaning, and was central in your guiding purpose is suddenly ripped terrifyingly away from you, and you're in a vacuum and you're falling, and there's nothing to look forward to except the UFL. I haven't watched it in a couple years, but it's coming back. Yes, my team is defunct, but maybe I'll watch it because I'm hungry for it this year. I'm hungry. And you all know my philosophy on it. My philosophy, which if it's my philosophy, it might as well be. I mean, it's obviously more highly regarded than someone else's facts. But in a philosophical sense and in a factual sense, the Super Bowl really hasn't been played since 1996. Because how super could a bowl be without the Cowboys in it? And it's a watershed year. It's been XXX years since Super Bowl XXX. Last time a meaningful game was played deep into January, early in February. So there's no way that that's going to satisfy. I'm still going to watch. I am going to Minneapolis on Friday. I'm going to go to the heart of the action. I'm going to figure out what's going on. I'm going to talk to no more than 2 people, and I'm going to fucking settle it. I'm going to settle it. Mark my words that in 7 days' time, there'll be no more news coming out of Minneapolis because I will have solved the problem. On my way, I'm going to stop at several important true crime sites. I'm going to just look around. There's some missing people that have gone missing in Minnesota. They're on my way. I'm just going to check, see if the police missed anything, see if I can figure out what happened to them, and then I'll do an update on that. You guys may remember that we covered the disappearance of Brandon Swanson on my true crime show. I'll be very near there. I'll have to take a detour to get to where Brandon Swanson disappeared. I'm going to have a look around. Okay. I'm going to check. You guys may remember I dug deep on that one. I got the maps. I called the comm center in that area. I asked them how they handle missing persons cases, and it was exactly the same as mine. And I'm gonna go hands-on on this one. I'm gonna solve the disappearance of Brandon Swanson, and then I'm gonna go pop the big boil on the hip of this country, which is Minneapolis. I'm gonna put a stop to it. I haven't been paying attention, don't know what's going on. I feel like police would appreciate a civilian just getting involved. That's what I'm going to go do. I'm sure nothing terrible is going to happen today. And maybe I'll take a video of it. Every time I go to Minneapolis, I always write my obituary first. I remember one time I went to a Cowboys-Vikings game on Halloween. I literally wrote my obituary. Just save time. Don't bury me in Minnesota. Bring me back home, first of all. But you knew it was going to end badly. How super can a bowl be without the soup? All right, guys. I appreciate all of you who watched. Sorry if you felt like it was a light show today. As I said, I'm choosing mental health rather than doom scrolling, but I'll be back at some point. I never get all the way better. Thank you for watching this episode. I think I'm going to be doing an episode of Hard Time that should drop on Friday. If you still like that show, look out for that. There'll be something on Thursday. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just know that whatever it is going to be awesome. I look forward to seeing you then. I hope you guys all take care. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. Don't do anything stupid like drinking or driving or betting. Betting on the outcome of the game, because I'm sure it's already been decided. Back to doom scrolling. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for supporting me. I hope this counted as some kind of bonus content for you. And we'll catch you back here in the future.